folks, welcome to this episode of the Average Joe Florida, coming to you today from
Winter Park.
Winter Park Canal Boat Tour. Exciting day, so we're going to go out. We're going to do a 1 hour, 12-mile tour of the waterways and canals around Winter Park, Florida. And you'll see a few things along the way. This is the home and college of Mr. Fred Rogers, as we know from Fred Rogers fame, Mr. Rogers Neighborhood. So this should be an adventure. Fred Rogers.
We'll point that out when we're on the boat.
We absolutely will. So hang tight. In our Florida neighborhood, it's a beautiful day here in Winter Park, Florida.
It is. It's gorgeous.
So hang tight, put your life vest on, and we'll be on that water in a few minutes. It'll be fun. All right. There we go. It's the Winter Park, Florida Scenic Boat Tour.
That's all the information.
The Winter
down
Park
bottom.
tradition since 1938.
It's all, yeah,
This
they're all
is-
first come, first serve. They do sell out though, so come early before the hour you'd like to ride on. If you get here early enough, the 1 o'clock will sell out, so come early enough to get your tickets.
And we have the skipper here welcoming you on the Scenic Boat Tours. You come down this little walkway, come over here to the Scenic Boat Tours. They have benches you can wait on. You buy your tickets. They are required under the age of 6. They have the life jackets here for the children. This is Winter Park, Florida Scenic Boat Tours. Get your tickets and you sit in the benches and wait for the boat, whatever time your boat is. Ours is at 1 o'clock.
Beautiful lake. See the fish? Very, very cool. There's the Winter Park Scenic Boat Tour. All right, so we're starting our tour here on the lakes of Winter Park, Florida.
Say goodbye to the pier.
Goodbye, pier. Here we go.
And they have quite a few boats here, so you don't have to worry about not getting a seat.
No, it pretty much will get you on the next hour on the
Well,
hour.
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dan. I'll be your skipper and your announcer here for the tour. And we're currently on Lake Osceola. Now, Lake Osceola is named after a famous Seminole Indian warrior. In fact, the Seminole Indians used to spend their winters right along the shoreline to these lakes. Now, the lakes are freshwater lakes. They're nice and fresh. We just changed it this morning. However, most of the water comes from the runoff from the surrounding real estate whenever it rains. A lot of good fishing in the lakes here, catfish and bass, just to name a couple. However, I'm going to leave all the snakes and alligators to be discovered by these folks in the front seat here. They like coming over the railing in the front, and I really like it when I have somebody nice and sweet in the front seat there. Not you, sir, but the one next to you. Never sit in the front seat of a tour boat. Pick on you on the whole trip. One of the neat things about skippering for the Scenic Boat Tour, you get to see the estates built on the lakes. For example, the estate on my right was built 15 years ago, and it took them forever to build the lower part of that estate. Reason being, we're seeing a full basement there. That's a rarity in Florida, let alone on the lakes. Right next door is the Alvin Pulaski Sculpture Museum of Fine Art. This is open every day except Monday. Mr. Pulaski came from Czechoslovakia back in 1901 when he was 22 years old, accomplished over 400 pieces of artwork that are scattered throughout the world. This is the Chaffin Estate on my right, donated to the Pulaski Museum. A historical estate was moved across this lake one half at a time on a barge. Looks like they got it pretty well nailed together there. We're seeing the sandy beach on my right. This at one time was the Sinclair automobile oil manufacturer's winter home.
Wow.
Sinclair was brought out in the mid-70s by the British Petroleum, the BP stations. And here we are, we're going to enter into the Fern Canal. Fern Canal is about 1/8 of a mile long. It's around 3 or 4 feet deep. Now these canals were originally dug back in the late 1880s for a logging effort here in Winter Park. The logging effort was concluded in the early 1900s, and the city of Winter Park now maintains the lakes and the canals, presenting the Fern Canal.
A little camp.
Calcutta bamboo on my right, good fishing poles. And again on my right, please enjoy the 150-year-old live oak tree. Over on the left is a 90-year-old loblolly pine tree. That was the size of logs that they would float down the canal during the logging days. Now in front of us is a reason why we don't have tops on our boats. We wouldn't have them on very long. In fact, at high water, we actually have to bend over to keep our heads from hitting the bridge. We're not quite at high water, folks, but please be mindful. Us boat drivers refer to the pipes underneath Osceola Avenue as Osceola's Revenge. They'll scalp you in a heartbeat, and boy does that hurt. Low bridge.
All the fish in that water,
There's
lots of
a
little
live oak
fish.
branch over the canal, and on the upper surface of the live oak branch is a plant that's called resurrection fern. This dies back with a lack of water. Rain the next day is a lush green. Resurrection fern. Low tree there. Calcutta bamboo again on the left, good fishing poles. Now approaching on the left, down low, hiding in the border grass there, it's probably the only alligator we'll see in the tour, all cast in stone, all mean looking there. And here we are approaching Lake Virginia. Lake Virginia is 223 acres in size. Lake Osceola smaller at 158 acres. All of these lakes are around 30 feet deep at the deepest point, with an average depth of 11 feet. The architect of that chapel is also the architect of the chapel at the West Point Military Academy, Mr. Cram. Here's an entranceway yet to another canal that goes over to Lake Mizell. Momentarily you see Lake Mizell underneath the Genius Drive Bridge. There's Lake Mizell, pretty little lake there. The estate to my left was originally built by the Winter Park Men's Club for Rollins College as a music conservatorium, but it was set to distance for the students to commute back and forth and make the other classes that Rollins College so blissed and has evolved in the great estate we see now. The property on my left is the beginning of 194 acres that Dr. Genius purchased at the turn of last century for $2.50 an acre. Wow. Not too long ago, the Genius Foundation released 150 acres, and most of this property is selling in excess of $2 million an acre. What an inflation factor. Now approaching on my left is an Anhinga inga, or a snakebird in the lily pads there with the wings spread out. That's a girl with a brown neck. Males are solid black. They have no oil in their feathers, so when they're in the water, just a long skinny neck sticks out of the water. Looks like a little snake wiggling along. Swim very well underwater. When they dry out, they'll thermal and soar with the best of them. And they stay year round. And inga, or snakebird. Dr. Genius Estate to my left that he would refer to as wind song. The reason they'd call it this, they had wind chimes out and about, and when the wind would whistle up, a nice little song would ring out. This part of Winter Park has taken on that name, Wind Song Estates. The white bird at water's edge on my left, it's a white heron. Good luck omen bird for the Seminole Indians. The birthday on my left has been deeded over to Wildlife Refuge. Marker buoys on my right is the ski slalom practice course for Rollins College, costing around $24,000, which was a lot. And they range in value now anywhere from $500,000 to several millions of dollars. A good boathouse today sells for anywhere between $40,000 and $50,000. So you can even buy a boathouse today for what you bought the home property and boathouse for back in the good old days. Now Rollins College to my right here, 70 acres of campus, was founded back in 1885 and it's the first college in the state of Florida. It has evolved to number 5 in the United States, number 1 in the southeastern part of the United States in the humanity and liberal arts disciplines. They also teach theatrical arts and the various business science related courses here as well. Now the annual tuition here at Rollins College is around $64,000 a year, which pays for everything. Back in 1885, the annual tuition was $28, yeah. Of a freshman class of 520 students, they had over 4,000 applicants. So Rollins College can be very selective as to the scholastic standing of the students that attend here. 98% of the professors at Rollins College hold their PhD, and the average class size is 12 students to one professor. Wow. So you get kind of a personalized education here at Rollins. The way I look at it, back in my day and time, with classes that size, I couldn't get away with nothing. They'd have my name, number, and location of my mom and dad, and believe you me, I needed that, I'll tell you. I have over 250,000 bonds in that library. The original library started with just 2 books, the Holy Bible and the dictionary. Out in front of us is a ski jump. Notice they put a fence on the top of it, keep guys like me from going over that thing. What a ride that was. Did you see that coming, sir? Boy, read me like a book. The seawall approaching on my right, that's the back edge of the Olympic-sized swimming pool for the students. And the building to the front of the pool, that's the Student Union Cafeteria, often referred to as the Bean Ring. Now Rollins College is undergoing an extensive amount of construction there. There's a huge dormitory complex there. Spans the whole length of the campus there. Some of the students that graduate from Rollins College are quite successful. One of these students graciously donated several $100,000 for the boathouse facility approaching on my left, the Alfonso Boathouse. A red-tiled roof building coming into view. This is part of the Cornell Museum of Fine Art. This is open every day except Monday, and it's the leading collegiate art museum in the country. They have around 6,000 pieces of artwork on display in there, various shapes, sizes, and forms. Recently, this museum has been doubled in size. Back in the old days, when they first invented the pocket watch, used a really fancy key to wind these devices up with. They have a collection of those in there. They even have Napoleon Bonaparte's key. They don't have his watch, but they got his winder. Rollins does well for a college its size in the sports arena, especially the water sports with all this great lake water to practice on. The beach approaching is Virginia Beach. It's a public beach. It's open every day and it's free of charge. Now this used to be the location of the sawmill during the logging days. They had a narrow gauge railroad that would haul the lumber away, the dinky line. Hence the dock to my left picked up the name, the Dinky Dock. That's the Dinky Dock Park up behind with full facilities. Used to be the Virginia apartments. These are now condos. And here we are, we're going to re-enter back into the Fern Canal to go back over Lake Osceola and on to Lake Maitland. The debris that we're seeing in the trees here is called Spanish moss. That's an air plant, not a parasite plant. Does not hurt the tree at all. But boy, is it loaded with eggs, larvae, red bugs. Back in the old days, they used to stuff mattresses and automobile upholstery with this stuff. And you know the story. Don't let the bed bugs bite. That's where it came from. Ford Motor Company had one of their first recalls to remove the Spanish moss and replace it with cotton. You'd get bed bug bites in your car in the good old days. Ford had a neat saying about their vehicles then. Are you itching to buy a Ford? Orange and pink flowers and red flowers to the left. Those are hibiscus. Approaching on my right, hiding behind the elephant ears here, is an attack frog. Folks, it's not alive. I was told the other day, it croaked. Oh dear. Oh wow. The dark brown estate to my right used to be the winter home of Mr. Walgreen of the Walgreens drugstore chain. It's a private home now. Next door here, I've been told, that's CVS's winter home. Well, they build their drugstores next door to each other. I think you ought to live next door. Here we see the His and Hers boathouse on my right. This is part of the Brewer estate. Now, Mr. Brewer would come down from Cortland, New York, to buy lumber for his horse, wagon, and buggy business there. Fell in love with the Florida winters. Tried to get his lovely wife to come down. She wouldn't have any part of leaving her beautiful estate there. Mr. Brewer got the plans out, made an exact copy. There it is, 23 rooms, and yes, Mrs. Brewer did come down to enjoy the Florida winters. Now the estate up in Cortland, New York, I'm sad to say, no longer in existence. Last used as a fraternity house there. It did not fare as well. Well, we see the three really nice purple marlin birdhouses on my right. These folks raise border collie dogs there. A black collie dog with white trim. These dogs are so intelligent, they can be trained as seeing eye dogs. Plus, they do very well in the sheep herding industry in Great Britain. And there's some in the backyard there in the dog kennel. Approaching on my right estate features a sub-basement. You see the windows at ground level indicating that, again, a rarity here in Florida. The estate on the point was designed by the architect where all rooms would have a view of the lake. The new owners came in, they added a workshop in the back, enlarged the windows in the front, and resurfaced the original light brown sandy beach with a white sand. It looks like another anhinga or snake bird up in the top of the tree there. All black is male. It has a brown neck and shoulders. It's a girl, but it looks like it's all black to me. One thing you don't want to have is a ticked off bird, because I call them the wrong name. To my far right, the lake makes a cove there, and and that's referred to as Alligator Cove. Not too long ago, all 6 lakes alligators used to meet in that area in the springtime in the mating season. This is very alarming for folks with small children and pets. So they got the Commissioner of Wildlife Services in there. They removed 150 gators, relocated them into the South Florida Everglades. I had a young lady on board from South Florida. On hearing that announcement, her comment to me was, "Thank you very much." That's all they need is another 150 alligators to deal with there. I don't blame her one bit. Now, we still have alligators in the lakes, but there's a tremendous amount of wildlife in the lakes. The gators are somewhat content, plus the folks around the lakes do very well in obeying the law not to feed the gators, so they stay recluse. Here we are, we're going to be entering into the Venetian Canal, 7/10 of a mile long. It's a very crooked canal, and it's going to be my challenge to try to drive through there without bumping the boat. Now, the reason these canals are so crooked is these lakes have always been connected by swamps. So back in the 1880s, they didn't have the nice equipment they do nowadays. They simply dug out the deepest part of the swamp that drained the swamp, gave them a crooked canal. Now, the lady of the household on the right side of the canal is an avid gardener. This is her hobby. Maintains that estate with very little outside help. 16 years ago, when they replaced 100-year-old cypress lumber walls with steel, she fixed up her side of the canal long before the canal crews could do it for her. Now, the second boathouse to the left of the canal, out on a railing, is a little plastic owl installed there. People install those owls to discourage birds from landing on the dock. Well, I've seen birds perched on top of the owl, so you can only fool Mother Nature so long. My only thought is the fact that plastic owls actually don't give a hoot. Over on my right, I see a herd of turtles up there on the muddy flats there, a herd of turtles on the right. I'm not sure what they're asking for the price for these, but when I last checked, this estate was asking $3+ million. Approaching on my right, there's a purple pod hanging down. Follow that stem up. You see some little bananas high up on my right.
Banana tree.
The purple leaf plant on the left, these are called Hawaiian ties. Hawaiian ties on the left. Now, the bridge in front of us here is the Palmer Avenue Bridge, and folks, occasionally I get very close to the right and left side of this bridge. So if you're sitting along the sides of the boat, you may find it necessary to lean in towards the center of the boat. Remember, headers hurt. Please be mindful. Check the right edge of the bridge out. You can see where I hit my head earlier. Almost ruined the bridge. Low bridge on the right. Low bridge on the right.
Whoa.
Approaching on my left is a broad leaf-like plant there, and these are called palm grass. Palm grass on my left. When we round the bend up in front of us, will be a nice view of the canal. Get your cameras ready. Alabama Drive on my right. Up in front of us on the left side of the canal, great big green leaves there, these are called elephant ears. And I've been told, yes, this is where the green elephants get their ears from. Yes, indeed. Alabama Drive, again on my right. Approaching on my right, there's a little red flower there. These are called a sleeping hibiscus. Never opens up any more than you see, hence the name sleeping hibiscus. I've been told the reason why these flowers never open up is because we're in a no-wake zone. And there I go again. Do you see that one coming, sir? Now the large leaf plants to the left, these are called a split leaf philodendron. Now the word philodendron, translated from the Greek language, stands for friend or lover of trees in Greek. Philodendron, split leaf. Here we are approaching Lake Maitland. This is the largest of the 6 lakes, 450 acres in size, 30 feet deep at the deepest point. Now at the far end of Lake Maitland, they have a dam that controls the level of the water of these lakes, and this water will eventually end up in the Atlantic Ocean via Jacksonville, Florida. Quite a trip ahead of itself. Again, Lake Maitland. By the descendants of the Craft family, honoring their mother and father. That's a favorite spot for the outdoor weddings. Now it's very easy to associate the Craft name with the Craft paper products or the Craft food products, but it's actually the Craft newspaper family in Winter Park, originally owned this 17 acres. We tucked underneath, makes a 2-mile loop, and then Alabama Drive reconnects back to Palmer Avenue just around the corner there. Coming to view on my right is the old Alabama Hotel complex, built in the early 20s. A lot of history there from one of the final chapters of Margaret Mitchell's novel, Gone with the Wind, was written here. These have now been converted into condos. You see the roof line just coming into view above the tree lines there. Every once in a while, folks will buy an estate, tear it down, and then fill the lot up with their own design. That's what went on in front of us, a red tiled roof estate there. Took them a year and a half to build that, completed a couple of years ago. The exceptionally large estate there with really high ceilings. Now I have 3 estates of note swinging in front of us, starting with a blue curtain. To the right of that, the next 2 estates are brand new. They had one estate on these 3 lots. They tore it down, subdivided the land up, the original 3 lots. Here they are working on the last estate. To the right of that, where you see the blue panel, that estate features a walkout basement. That's a rarity in Florida, let alone on the lakes here. Approaching on my right, nice example of Venetian style architecture there. Tom Hanks did an HBO movie production there called Earth to the Moon, a mini TV series about the early American space efforts. Of the 2 weeks on location at that estate, this home was shown for only 44 seconds, so you can see why they have such large movie budgets. Mr. Hanks is a patient producer. He would be filming in the backyard. Here comes a Scenic Boat Tour ruining the shot. He never once complained. Now, the original owner of that estate was an engineer that went to Venice, Italy, to study the technology of building structures on the water, and he applied it to this estate. Originally, the lake came up next to the estate. However, he repeatedly caught his grandchildren diving out the windows into the lake. Since now you see the grass bank there. That took care of diving out the windows into the lake creek. The little bridge on my right, that's the only land access to the Isle of Sicily. This used to be a swamp, and the city of Winter Park put sandbags around the swamp. They dredged up Lake Maitland, filled it in nice, and 11 really nice estates were built here. The reason this is called the Isle of Sicily is because the dredging vessel used to create this property was called the Isle of Sicily, so the property took on the name of the vessel that created it. Dog Island to my far right, kind of a wildlife refuge there. Cypress trees don't particularly like the water, but they tolerate it. Excellent underwater lover for trees like this. That's the only cypress tree I'm aware of grows its own Christmas ornaments. Comes in bloom nice on Christmas Day. Now that's an osprey nest. You see one of the osprey family members up there, the whiteheads there. Ospreys stay mated for life. Which is about 20 years. They arrive in January, leave around June or July. Osprey. Groves originally belonged to Mr. Archibald Bush. Mr. Archibald Bush started off as a bookkeeper for the Scotch State 3M Company, and he knew how to invest money. When he retired from the 3M Company, he retired as his owner, and when he passed away in the 60s, he amassed a fortune of over $600 million. A good portion of that went to the charities and arts. The original Bush estate is to the right of that boathouse, nestled up and behind the trees. The Bushes love to entertain. Their dining room has served 22 people. However, that's only a 2-bedroom estate. So come and have a great time, but don't stay over. Directly in front of us is one of the larger estates, the light brown contemporary architecture, 23,000 square feet of living there, 13 central air conditioners of that estate. The original owner of that estate was Horace Grant, one of the past players for the Orlando Magic basketball team, a private home now. Now when Horace Grant was living there, he would wave to the tour boats in the backyard. If he's on his jet skis, he'd pull up alongside of us, have a little chat, and I'd tip my hat to his congeniality. Terrific individual now living in Santa Barbara, California. The estate is undergoing an extensive amount of reconstruction there. The figures are going to change when they're done. The estate with a full-length upstairs walkout porch used to be the residence of Colonel Bob Scott, World War II Flying Tiger fighter pilot. He resided there, Colonel Bob Scott. And here we are. We're going to re-enter back into the Venetian Canal to complete the circuit of Lake Osceola. Often asked the question, what do we do when we meet boats in the canal? Courtesy being rule 1. We're at the entranceway of the canals. We back out, of course. In the canals, boats are somewhat streamlined in nature. They can nestle into the entranceway to some of the canals, and we very carefully go around. Rollins does very well in this competition. Coach Bradley is one of the first crew coaches here at Rollins, presenting the Venetian Canal. Here's your view now. Again, approaching on my right, the purple leaf plant there, Hawaiian ties. Hawaiian ties on the right here. We see a herd of turtles on the left. Yeah, there's one there looking at us. Herd of turtles. And here we are, I'm back out on Lake Osceola. That's an Anhinga snakebird out in the water. See the skinny neck there? And it looks like a male. That's a nervous snakebird there. Seeing this big boat coming down on them. Now, Mr. Rogers of the children's TV program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, graduated from Rollins College. While attending Rollins College, he lived there in a brick estate with green ivy on it. So perhaps we're seeing the for real Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood of long ago. Boathouse just coming into view. This is part of the Nelson Estate. Mr. Nelson was into real estate and lumber during the logging days. They had two daughters that graduated from Rollins College. Mrs. Nelson loved roses. She maintained a really nice rose garden to the left of the estate. She lived to be 94 years old. Now when she passed away, she left Rollins College $10 million, plus that beautiful estate to be sold. The money's to be combined and used for the tuition assistance for the less affluent at Rollins College. What a legacy. Now the ladies of the Winter Park Garden Club affectionately named the Nelson Rose in honor of the family used to live there. And outside the college president's office at Rollins College, they maintained a Nelson Rose Garden there commemorating that family. Now the boathouse on my right, this is all that's left of the old Seminole Hotel. They used to occupy the grounds here. The hotel was built like that boathouse, somewhat of a fire trap. So they tore the hotel down. The land became available and these nice estates were built here. To Canada and participate in the World Championship whistling competitions there. Came back with first place 3 years in a row. So I had a world-class whistler residing there. Whenever his college studies permitted, he'd go on international tours. The dark brown estate to my right used to be the location of Casa de Feliz, House of Happiness. Sold several years ago. The new owners elected to tear it down. The city of Winter Park got permission to move Casa de Feliz across the street and around the corner on the golf course. A lot of history associated with the estate, right down to the building materials, moved with private donations. But they rolled the Chaffin Estate down one half at a time to get it on the barge to take it over to the Plastic Museum we saw earlier in the tour. The estate approaching on my right at one time was the diocese. There's a purple tabebuia bloom in the behind there. Used to be the diocese of the Episcopal Church. The bishop lived there for 10 years. He's now since relocated in Orlando. It's a private home as we see now. Rumor has it the bishop could not stand his next door neighbor there. Don't blame him at all, folks. I live in that little yellow estate. I'm very proud of that, and I'm a mess, I know. Don't blame the bishop at all. Have to be very careful what I say about my yellow estate. From the boathouse there, they used to keep the police patrol boats there. So I'll tell the truth now. That's actually a pump house back there where they siphon the water from the lakes to water the lawns up and behind. Where we see the gazebo on my right, this is one time the Rollins College President's Estate. It's a private home now. Next door, that pavilion belongs to the United Methodist Church in Winter Park. They enjoy the Easter sunrise services here and outdoor weddings. Momentarily, we see the sanctuary behind the cross. Architecture on my right, Whispering Water condos. That style of architecture was very popular back in the 1930s. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the tour, and I certainly enjoyed having you on board. I hope you have a great stay, a safe journey home. God bless you all, and thank you so much.